Here are some more thoughts on the relativity of how karmic law manifests. Number 1. Again, karmic law is universal, inevitable, and so rules over absolutely every phenomenon and everything that exists in our world. Number 2. The law of karma, or cause and effect, concerns physical conditions, physical happenings, and circumstances, as well as psychical conditions, psychical happenings, and circumstances. Number 3. There is no luck in our world. There are only those events or phenomena for which the causes are not to be found in the physical, empirical, or observable sensory domain. In other words, many physical phenomena have their primary cause in the psychical, thus non-sensory world. For example, accidents, diseases, the fact that this or that person is close to you can have an origin or a primary cause of a psychical nature. Number 4, what is sometimes called the causal body, is a psychical sheath the soul develops and works through for the entire cycle of earthly incarnations prior to liberation. It contains the traces or seeds of all thoughts, emotions, desires, and actions the soul is responsible for and not yet free of. These include links or attachments to things, to specific individuals, to certain tendencies, etc. Number 5, the causal body is therefore an earthly, temporal, and temporary thing. Its quality is relative, changing over time. It can be gross and dark, or great and luminous, depending on what the consciousness does, feels, and thinks, and in turn, its quality determines the quality of said consciousness in incarnation. It is also from that body that earthly karma manifests or imposes itself on the incarnated consciousness. Number 6. Now, we all have in our past, sometimes very distant past, seeds of evil things that we did in previous incarnations. Since karma's basic law is reap what you have sown, we might be tempted to believe that this means an eye for an eye, if we're talking about mostly negative karma. However, such is not necessarily the case. Number 7. An eye for an eye suggests exact retribution, but for a retribution or an effect to be exact, consciousness must, in a sense, be at the very same or very similar condition as when the cause was caused. Otherwise, the effect cannot impose itself in the exact same manner. Number 8. Karmic effects of past causes can be far-reaching, lasting several incarnations, and can affect the psyche as well as the physical or both. Again, it depends on the position of consciousness. Number 9, what is meant by the vague term position of consciousness is on what plane is the individual mostly conscious. For example, things that were done when consciousness was in a state of tribal savagery can have far-reaching effects. But if said consciousness is now reincarnated as a civilized, good citizen, such effects cannot fall under an eye for an eye. What is meant here, generally speaking, is that tribal savagery refers to a much lower position for consciousness if compared to the good, educated, contemporary citizen. A higher positioned consciousness cannot be reached in an eye for an eye manner by the effects of causes that originate from a former lower position. Number 10. Therefore, the effects of past causes can be relatively escaped if consciousness is evolving or ascending. However, they can catch up with increased strength if consciousness falls back to a position close to them. For example, manifestations of intense anger or jealousy, or giving way to violence, or letting oneself drift low into a deep sadness or depression can easily cause significant such falls. So, the way to overcome samsaric karma is to raise one's consciousness above the psychical planes up to the soul planes, where samsaric karma cannot reach it. It is actually the only way. When that has been accomplished, even a soul in incarnation very active in our world remains free from samsaric karma. Such a soul cultivates no earthly attachment, but can bring into our world the very high marvels and qualities that can manifest from such high dimensions as the plane of souls, sometimes known as the kingdom of God, and even from above that, all the while remaining totally free from even positive earthly karma. This is, however, quite rare indeed.